Okay, this is Alan from Lonely Bookshelf. I haven't made a video in about 2 weeks and thought I'd come and give a reading update on how my reading is going. I hope everyone is doing well. Myself, I'm doing fine. The I work as a security guard at a food processing plant, and currently I've been there at this post for 4 years, and the place where I work, food processing plant, decided to go with another security company. And the reason they decided to go with another security company is because that the branch manager, my branch manager of the security company, does not communicate. You try to text him, he won't answer. He won't get back your texts. He won't answer your phones. You say you want time off or you're sick, and you call and say, "Oh, I'm sick," and he doesn't answer. For instance, one time on a Sunday, I had to work from 6 o'clock to 2, and I knew that this guy told me the day before, this Saturday, coworker told me who works from 2 to 10, told me that he was going to go to Houston and he won't be there on Sunday. So that so that Sunday, knowing that he wasn't going to be there, I left at 2 o'clock, and no one showed up to work the security post from 2 to 10. And see, the branch manager didn't have anyone. He didn't text me. He didn't call me. He said, "Oh, so and so is going to show up." From work from 2 to 10. He didn't do that. So the company has decided to go with another security firm. So I don't know if, and I'm also thinking about going with another security company. Maybe the one that's going to take over the that same job site. Anyway, let's go on to the books. Nonfiction November. I finished In Search of Holy Russia by Father Spyridon Bailey. This is a very excellent book. It's only a short one too. It's only 202 pages, and this came out last year because he has he goes to Russia. He meets a family there. They take him to it's not a monastery. It's a type of a retreat type hotel where you had to pay 1,000 rubles for 7 days. In American money, that's $101. And so he meets different monasteries, goes to the Kremlin. There's a place where you can go inside the Kremlin, kind of a museum. So he goes through there, gets the walking exhibit where you had to have the headphones and everything. And he goes to the other monasteries, meets with some nuns. And since he is new to the Orthodox tradition, having read this book previously, The Journey to Mount Athos, Father Spyridon Bailey used to be an Anglican, and that's what he's brought up in England, in the UK. So he wants to change to the Orthodox style, but he doesn't know anything about the Orthodox religion because he sees the way the Anglicans are going away from the the gospel. In other words, so he wants to examine more of the teachings of the Orthodox Church. And there's a long section here about the Lord's Prayer. He wants to know more about the Lord's Prayer from the nuns, and towards the end, you could tell that it was written last year because towards the end, he talks about the coronavirus, and this came up. And he says at the very end, you know how dangerous the world around us had become. So this is a very good book, as well as this one here. He's written several other books that I may not take part of. The other book I'm reading for Nonfiction November is The Dusty Man by Nicolas Berdyaev. This one is it was one of those type of books that you have to meditate on every time you read it, because currently I'm only on page 20, 22, and it has 300 pages, so I may not get through within in November, and the print is kind of small, but this chapter 2 is the origin of good and evil, and I read you a little bit of the first sentence. The question and distinction between good and evil and of its origin cannot be solved from the prior question as to the relation between God and man, between the divine and human freedom, or between grace and freedom. The feud between the creator and the creature, which overshadows our whole existence, concerns evil and its origin. And the struggle against the creator is waged not only by those who distort with evil the image of the created world, but also by those who suffer from evil in it. The ethical problem presupposes a theodicy without which there can be no ethics. That there is an distinction between good and evil, and if evil exists, God must be justified, since the justification of God is the solution to the problem of evil. That there is no evil and no distinction between good and evil, there can be no ethics and no theodicy. But in paradoxically, it may be said that ethics judges not only man but God also. The good as well as the wicked rebel against God, for they cannot reconcile themselves to the existence of evil. Atheism may spring from good motives and not solely from evil ones. The wicked hate God because he prevents them from doing evil, and the good are ready to hate him, that is God, for not preventing the wicked to doing evil and for allowing the existence of evil. The very distinction between good and evil, which results of the fall, becomes the source of atheism. Ethics spring from the same source as atheism, and this throws a sinister light upon it. The traditional doctrines of theology do not solve the painful problem of evil. The original or ordinary theological concept of the creation of the world and the fall turns it all into the divine comedy of play that God plays himself. So I will stop right there in the reading, because you can see how you have to ponder each thing and meditate on these things. So it's going to take a while to get through this. The next book I'm reading is one of those books that you get from Netflix. If you have Netflix, they have what they call Editor's Choice each month. In Editor's Choice, each month they'll just show you books that are coming out, newer releases. In other words, they have thrillers and mysteries, historical fiction, children's books, romance, and you, the reader, have to pick which one you want to read for that month. Excuse me. Or I think you can pick two, or how many you want to read. And they're free. Normally they'd be about, $14.99 or something like that. Excuse me. I get a drink there. And so you pick one, and usually they are hit or miss. It can be either a good book or one that you really don't, don't want to finish it. And I picked up some of those this year. But this one is historical fiction. You don't know anything about the book going in. So this one is the Last Rose of Shanghai by Weina Randel. It's historical fiction. It's set in Shanghai, China. It also has a couple chapters in it, in which goes forward to 1980. When Shanghai, China was the one. 1940 was occupied by the Japanese forces. And you have the main character named Ai and I can't remember her last name as Zhu, I think it's something like that. And she is 20 years old and she owns a nightclub in Shanghai, China during the Japanese occupation. Then you enter in the picture is the guy by the name of Ernest Reichman. Ernest Reichman just arrived from Berlin, Germany, with his sister and left his parents in Berlin, Germany. He's Jewish. He has a mark on his hand because he got caught by the Hitler Youth. They probably put a swastika or a Star David on his hand and carved it in there. And he's looking for a job. He goes to, he rescues a IE. It's AIYI. So it's A-Yi. That's the way she pronounced it in the book. And so he gets a job at IE's nightclub. But he's a foreigner because he's white and he's Jewish. And so he lands there. So he's kind of ostracized just like he was back in Berlin. And gets picked on, hit on, stabbed in the hand by another Chinese gentleman. So there's a romantic interlude with IE and Ernest Reichman. Meanwhile, the daughter is going to a Jewish school in Shanghai, China. And she has her bat mitzvah, which is the female equivalent to a bar mitzvah. And IE has a friend named Victor Sassoon. Victor Sassoon is a philanthropist, British, living in Shanghai, China. And he actually knows what's going on. In the book, when it goes to 1980, where they want to make a documentary about the Jews living in Shanghai, China during World War II, the author mentions that Victor Sassoon's papers, diaries, photographs are located at SMU in Dallas, Southern Methodist University in Dallas, where I live. So I went online and looked it up, and there were the papers. And I could see the pictures and everything that Victor Sassoon took. Also mentioned in the book, The Last Rose of Shanghai, is a person by the name of Emily Hahn. Emily Hahn was a American journalist and regarded as the first feminist. She has written 54 books and is the mother of the British actress Amanda Boxer, whose most famous role was in the movie Saving Private Ryan. So Emily Hahn is there also. So you have all these people there in Shanghai, China. And it's a very well written book. The chapters are divided into IE's name at the top and Ernst's names at the top. So you can see how each one is doing at that particular time frame. It's It's a well-written book. I believe it comes out the December 1st. Yeah, it's a novel ebook. It comes out in hardback form on December the 1st. So this was a hit for me. The Last Rose of Shanghai by Weina Randel. Okay, that's it for the update. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good weekend, and paka.